Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. TerraPlex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from TerraPlex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with TerraPlex Ag. Visit TerraPlexAg.com.
Chris Williams, Brent Bloom, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Bloom, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
How about those horns? Little horns? Let's go. The Cyclone football program is playing for a Big 12 championship game berth coming up on Saturday. Well, probably. We'll get to all that. This is, without a doubt, the latest Williams and Bloom podcast you guys have ever heard. Crazy, crazy scenarios at play. Bloom finds himself coming from Maui unexpectedly.
That's a fact.
I had a late, delayed flight back from Vegas. It is.
Did you have a good time?
Midnight.
Yeah, it sounds like your voice had a good time.
Jeez, Brent. That well, we had two very different experiences of the game, and I do want to just hit on all this because I think it's just fascinating that, like, you were there, so you take in Salt Lake City, you do all that for the first time. I was a guest at Circa for big F1 weekend there, and they brought a bunch of Des Moines people in. They're a big partner, obviously a former partner of ours at Iowa Everywhere, so a lot of that going on. And so my buddy Mike Palm gets us a table at his sports bar for the Iowa State game, and I'm with Ted Flint in Kansas. Like the crew, it was a motley crew. I tell you, this group, you can't make it up.
You're watching on your phone?
I was watching it on my phone from the front row of an All-American Rejects concert.
As one does, yeah.
Because they had this big festival, like, leading up to the race and all that stuff. And then you know why I don't have a voice? Because I've been singing Dirty Little Secret really loud. That's why I don't have a voice. No, it was awesome. It was if Iowa State would have lost, I would have been like a child. I would have left. I would have pouted. But when that kick was no good, it was just a form of elation that every human being needs to experience from time to time. How was we are presented by Mechdyne.
That's right.
How was Salt Lake City? How was your experience?
Highly recommend. Totally different than anywhere else in the conference, clearly. Like, the atmosphere was great. City's awesome. Super clean, walkable, great food, all that good stuff. Beer was kind of hard to find. Another story for another day. But we had 200 or so folks stop by our tailgate on Saturday. And it was just a blast. And then the game is like, Iowa State's just better. But yet you're finding ways to keep Utah around. And Chris, I think the overwhelming feeling from all of us that were there were like, thank goodness that turned out the way it did, because that would have been an all-timer on a negative way, and ones we felt before. But this group's just a little different, right? Like, how many times have we seen Iowa State lose that game in that situation? And this time it was Rocco again putting Iowa State on his back with those receivers, and it was a thrill. I mean, that was, again, way too close. However, good teams find ways to win when things aren't always going your way, and that's exactly what Iowa State did.
I watched the game again on my flight back, and because I wanted to be able to like take my notes and like a better viewing experience than I had
Yes.
yesterday at a loud sports bar. But you know what really came to my mind was that was a game that I felt like, well, you're dead on. Iowa State's better than them. Like, and it was there was
It
no
was
question.
it was not even competitive from a physical standpoint.
But like from an Iowa State standpoint, you have a pick six, you have the block punt, missed some field goals, you know, like all this like just stuff you did that just not conducive to winning on the road in the conference. But you still also caught these breaks too,
Yeah.
right? Like the holding on the missed field goal that
Yep.
gives you the first down, and then you go in for the score. Um, there was just a lot of like things too that if I'm a Utah fan, like I was irate with. There was that questionable PI. I thought it was PI, but
I did too. But
the
I get it.
guys
You're
on
at home.
TV were
Yep.
questioning it and like whatever. You caught some breaks. I don't know. It was a really wild game in that sense, but again, to hammer down the point, I would say it was just better than Utah. I think any rational Utah fan watching that game felt the same way, and this is, you know, we're going into Saturday now. I think you nail it. We've seen Iowa State teams get to the point where, you know, there's that one Rhodes team was like, I think they went like 7-5, and we thought they should have been like 10-2. McCarney had a team like that in 2005, right? That we all thought those teams would lose these games along the way. Where this team is not perfect, they do have 2 losses, but they've made enough of these plays down the stretch. It's 2 games in a row now where you give the ball to your offense, to your all-star quarterback and receivers, and say, go win the effing game, and they do it for you. Big time playing right there by that group.
Yeah, and it just you want to have this situation. I mean, if you would tell the Iowa State fans, hey, K-State game Saturday after Thanksgiving, you win it, and you're 90. It's like what 97% chance. I think. I mean, there are some scenarios where Iowa State can win and still not make the championship game, but they're a little bit more remote, in my opinion. But you can win a game against K-State to go 10-2 and make the Big 12 championship game. Sign me up. Mm-hmm. Now this year's been interesting because it's been all over the place, really, like mentally exhausting. And Saturday was the perfect example of that. It's never easy. But yet this group has scrapped and clawed and fought their way to 9-2. Like, I had to stop myself because, you know, anymore, you're still going to get some criticism. You know, there's some of Rocco throwing another pick six, and largely, you know, was that his fault? Was it not? The fumbled punt by Jalen, which, you know, can't have that happen. Things like that happen. So I can understand there's some criticism there, but then you almost just step back and go, wait a second. Iowa State's 9-2.
Yeah.
Despite
it all.
Despite it all, like that. Mm-hmm. And that's where it's just like this is
even
fun.
Like UCF, Brent, like that game, Iowa State just you lose that game.
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10 in Iowa State history, that's a loss.
And that's where it's like
the Iowa game. The Iowa game is the same way.
Another one.
You know?
Yep. And then you Rocco had a game-winning drive against Tech, only to lose it because Tech went down and scored. So could be 4 of Iowa State's potentially 10 wins that were last-minute drives by Rocco. I do think, though, this is why you play. You know, it's a huge game. We can get into an argument, is it the biggest regular season game in Iowa State history, and sometime potentially. I mean, it's in that conversation. We've been here before. You've seen Iowa State in these situations to get to a championship game back-to-back years when we were in school, Chris, 04 and 05. Everybody remembers what happened in those games. But you've got it here against what I think is the main rival Iowa State has, a program in equal footing. It's going to be 10 degrees Saturday in late November in Ames, Iowa. It's like, this is why we do it. This is why you're an Iowa State fan. It's for this game. Now, will you win it? I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 chance, right? So
Vegas would say it's a 55-45 chance.
There we go.
We'll get to guess the point spreads later on.
You're 16-team conference. You need to win at home on senior day to make the championship game. Bring it on.
We are presented by Mechdyne. We are in the Wild Rose Casino Studios late night with Williams and Blum. We should have just popped this on live just to see what kind of
see who gets on there.
See what kind of sickos are hanging up with us here. Want to get to more. We have a lot to cover. I think most people understand this is without question the busiest week on the calendar.
Oh my gosh!
So we're probably not going to talk much women's basketball, wrestling. Because one, we have the podcast with Jack and Ben. They're going to do a much better job on that. Women's basketball, we're going to just turn the calendar and go straight to that South Carolina game coming up on Thursday. And then so Bloom is in Maui. Real quick, let's get the update on that. We will get back to football. So Godfather had a family situation. He's fine. And you're already over there in Utah, and you get a call, and you're like, you're not packed for this. You're not ready for this. They went to the old bullpen. Hey, Bloom, can you get a flight from Salt Lake to Maui? How did this play out?
I was having a Modelo at Nacho Daddy's for lunch yesterday.
I ate one this morning.
Yeah. What we learned in Utah, you can't stand up and drink. You have to be seated. That's the law.
Really?
Yeah. So we got my wife got yelled at by the server. You can't be standing while you're drinking that. Anyway, so we're having a good time. We got about 25 of us at this Nacho Daddy's, and all of a sudden I get a call from Eric Heft, and I'm like, okay, does Eric need something? He's over here. He's like, hey, do you want to go to Maui? And I'm like, yeah, I'll go to Maui. He's like, no, for real. John has a family situation. Can you hop on a plane and we'll change his ticket to yours and all this? I'm thinking, well, yes, but now I've never been to Hawaii. My wife's never been to Hawaii. I'm like, can my wife go? And so we ended up getting her mom to stay with the kids this week, and we ran to a Target after the game. Shout out to my guy AJ who drove us to Target. We ordered some stuff to be shipped to the hotel, and so now we have enough Maui clothing for this 3-game set with Iowa State in Maui. So it's been literally a surreal experience. So super grateful. Again, John's fine. He'll be doing the game with the K-State game on Saturday, but just need to be home for a couple of days. So. I'm excited. It's a surreal, incredible experience.
I'm glad you were out there, right? Like, you just just hop on the plane. That's good.
If I wasn't out there was no way to get, I literally just took John's ticket, his airline ticket. And so we hopped on the plane with Eric, and Jamie Pollard was on the plane today. So it's actually a good amount of Cyclone fans here already. It's going to be a good time. And really, really big time game Monday night. Big time game.
I probably haven't been talked about enough, really, which we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to point out a couple of things from that game. First of all, the set of balls that Taylor Mauser had calling that halfback pass when he did, that wasn't even it, though. It's what I loved about the game plan. And this goes with Haycock, too. Iowa State was the more aggressive team. Night and day difference. With
look at
what
the first downs.
Yes,
25-9.
Yeah,
you won't find another game where somebody wins 25-9 in first downs and it goes down to the wire.
They set the tone going for it on fourth early in that thing, and I even thought Haycock brought more pressure early in that football game than he normally would have. I think he was really trying to get the Wilson kid rattled. The other note, Dominic Orange, his two best games of his Cyclone career, dominant in the middle. It looked like Ray Lima on steroids there for about 2 quarters in that football game, and he had to do it without J.R. Singleton. We talked going into this game, what's the number one thing? Well, if you can shut down Utah's running game, we really like Iowa State's chances. Don't think they can score. And that score just looked way closer than the game actually was because Iowa State did so many things to shoot itself in the foot, right? So I thought that the coaching was just I thought Mauser called a phenomenal game, kept them off balance, didn't show it really in the stat sheet. Rocco didn't complete a great percentage of his passes.
Yeah, he missed a couple throws in there, and he had actually 5 that were knocked down.
Yes,
and they had some bigger linemen that were knocking the pass down.
Yeah, so. they were certainly disruptive. But I'm going to give Haycock a lot of credit here too. God, after that Kansas game, I mean, it'd be pretty easy to bury the defense, right? And just the sheer fact that he's kept that group together, and now all of a sudden they're here, right? Like I think they deserve a lot of credit for getting that group off the deck the way that they have.
Thank you for mentioning Dom. He's been literally. There's a reason why Iowa State's defense has been good the last 2 games. It's that guy. Like, he is a game wrecker when he wants to be, and it proves to him, hopefully, that, hey, man, like, if this is what I'm doing every week out, I'm a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's that good if he wants to be. But I'll give kudos. I thought Sadowski played awesome
Great
game.
point.
Awesome
Great
game. 2 tackles for loss, had a sack in there. And for a guy who got some criticism early in his career at Iowa, still a young pup, though. He's only a sophomore, true sophomore. And his last 2 games have been his 2 best games. And McLaughlin's getting healthier. Malik Verdone is having an all Big 12 first team year. He better be on that first team. He was great again. And it's just that defense, there was no room. Honestly.
You know who was really good in 13 snaps was Hawk in the middle. He played really well, I thought. Like, that was a dude. It was like, whoa, that's a different level for that guy.
So you had him play, and then Carnell played quite a bit. Another young pup on the defensive line.
I had to do a double take with that. I had texted somebody on the staff today. I'm like, well, okay, what's going on here? Like, because this guy hasn't played since Arkansas State, right?
Yeah.
Like, wild subbing patterns that they've got. But when you got a guy go down like Singleton, somebody's got to take up those snaps.
For sure. I thought the defense was really, really good. And almost the worst thing that happened to Iowa State was when Wilson got hurt, because they were not prepared. The one knock on the defense is they were not prepared for that zone read, because Wilson can't run.
Mm-hmm.
So that one driver they had late, it was all that quarterback's legs. That guy couldn't throw. But anyway, it all worked out in the end. And I thought Jaden Higgins proved what we've been saying now for 2 years. That guy is, is he as good as Lazard and Hakeem Butler? I mean, you could argue this is as good a year as any receiver's ever had at Iowa State.
He was a freaking cheat code.
They kept covering him one-on-one. Like, I'm up in the corner. I'm thinking, what are you guys? You're putting this sophomore corner on Higgins like over and over again.
Is Knoll underrated?
Yes,
I think so too.
I mean, he's had a great year. I mean, Chris, you got Jaden's over 1,000 now yards, and Jalen's at 971. I think Iowa State's had 8 receivers all time over 1,000 in a season. Iowa State's gonna have 2 this year, which is pretty wild stuff. So yeah, those 2. I don't know. The next question is, well, who replaces them? We're working on it. WeWillCollective.com.
Well, I mean, you got some guys.
Well, there's some guys.
There's some guys coming up.
Yeah.
Skilled.
More guys. Yeah, I met his dad. His dad, awesome guy.
Cool.
Eskelson. He wanted. He's like, hey, tell Williams.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I will get it. You have a very confusing Eskelson. I will get it. I will get it done. I appreciate that.
Eskelson.
Eskelson.
Yeah,
Eskelson.
Awesome family. They spent some time at our tailgate.
All right. Let's run down the scenario real quick. So next week, Kansas State. What? Another night game.
Another night game. It's going to be freezing.
It is going to be cold as hell.
Sicko game.
Like the feels like temperature could be close to 0 in the second half of that football game. Realistically, what are we expecting? I know that the diehards are going to be there. Somebody made a comment to me of the crowd at the end of the Cincinnati game and compared it to the Missouri game in 2004. Like, how could this be? It's really hard to fill up a stadium Thanksgiving weekend, especially when students are gone. Like, I respect that. It is hard.
Yep.
Realistically, what do you think would be a good crowd? Like, it's easy to go, sell out. I don't necessarily think you need a sellout to have a great crowd and just to be there. This is a historic time. I think that the people will turn up.
I do too. And I mean, I think the sold tickets are going to be really close to a sellout regardless. Now, everybody knows. I think it's a busy week for everybody.
Oh, yeah. We all got stuff going on.
Everyone's got stuff. And so I understand, like, hey, going to Ames when it's 10 degrees out, and a lot of people are making 3, 4, 5 hour drives. Like, totally respect it. What I would say, C-Dub, this is never – we don't get this chance very often. Like,
No.
Now, we hope it continues this way. But, I mean, I think you still talk about one of your favorite games you've ever been to was that, until the end, the Minnesota game when it was like -30.
Oh, yeah.
Up at
So much fun.
I mean,
We had so much fun in that game.
I remember more about that Kansas game in 13 than I do, some of the bigger wins. Because it was just, again, it was a sicko crowd. So I don't think you'll regret going to this game. I understand it's a busy time for people. Clearly, football staff, the players want that thing as lopsided from a home field advantage standpoint as they can get it. I mean, the hope is that place is such a madhouse. K-State largely not playing for much outside of just trying to end Iowa State's chance this year. Maybe you can, really swing the tide in your favor. And but yeah, I get it. Like, I don't think it's going to be completely full, but man, it'd be so cool if it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that on Wednesday. Assuming you're on with me Wednesday. I don't know what we're doing.
We'll figure it.
We're flying by the seat of our pants here.
What day is it?
It's Monday where I'm at.
It's Sunday where I am.
It's still it's Sun. What time is it in Maui right now?
It is 8:20.
Okay, so it's
4 hours.
Wow.
4 hours.
Okay, yeah, because it's 12:20 here. Okay.
Yeah. So the Iowa State game is at 4:00 out here tomorrow, but 8:00 your time.
Gotcha. And just so everybody knows, we will be starting our pregame, postgame live coverage of men's and women's basketball starting this week. Leah Nelson and I. Chelsea Poppins is going to be helping us out this year, Blum.
She's doing a really good job. Yep.
She's coming on our team. Connor will be doing a lot of the women's games, and Rob will be joining us as well. So that all starts I don't know what time we're going to pop on live, but we'll start it all this week. We'll get into some – go ahead, buddy.
And then during the game, because this is on ESPNU tomorrow with, honestly, I don't know the person, but it's not – I would say it's not a marquee broadcasting crew. So if you
want Blum and Heft.
Yeah, if you want to get Blum and Heft, you get the Varsity Network app.
That's what we want, Blum and Heft. And then you can just do the thing where you pause it for like 10 seconds and then you line up the audio. That's what I'll do down here in my basement.
Pro tip.
Colin Newell, get your insurance from him. He's touched Brock Purdy's rear end a lot.
He was up in Green Bay today.
Oh, did he go to the game?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that didn't work out very well for him because Brock's hurt.
Brock's hurt, and the Niners got destroyed.
They most certainly did. Colin Newell, Farm Bureau Financial Services. If you are in the need for real estate, remember our guy, Andrew Chaplin. Chappie is the man. Hunziker guy. He's helping out Cyclones all over the great state of Iowa. Also, a shout out to our friends at the Ivy College of Business, the graduate program there at Iowa State. Number one, absolutely, you can't beat that graduate program. And we appreciate their support of the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. So 4:00 in Maui, 8:00 tip. This Auburn game is fascinating.
Yes,
this is a classic. All of a sudden you're in the big leagues for the first time this year. They've played a better schedule than Iowa State has. They deserve their ranking. Ken Pom number 1. This is a great challenge for the bigs, right? That's what I want to see. Let's see what these bigs are all about at Iowa State. Throw them in the 10-foot.
I think if you would ask the coaches in honest, are like, you know what, win or lose, we're going to learn way more about our team and specifically those bigs than if you're just playing another random. Mm-hmm. And this is valuable. Like talking on the way out here, it's like, what's a successful trip in Maui? It's hard to say.
2-1.
I mean, I'd say 2-1 would definitely be a huge success. This isn't going to ruin your season if you lose a game. Even 2 games, you're going to be okay. Losing 3, you're not out of it, but it's not going to be great for the vibes. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm talking to Deshaun. Saw him. It's cool. Chris and I are getting into the resort, and Deshaun's the first one we see, and he says, "What's up, guy?" Like, this is why you came here, right? This is why if you're Deshaun Jackson, you're Joshua Jefferson, you've done it at the lower level. This is why you come and play at Iowa State. Your top 5 game in Maui against an Auburn team with really good bigs. I mean, the Broom kid is an NBA guy. He's really good. He might be the best big in the country, right? At least in the top 5 right now. So Jackson and Jefferson and Chatfield, this is why you sign up to come to Iowa State is for experiences like this, and I'm excited to see what they have. I don't know how it's going to go. What's Auburn, a 3-point favorite? I think that's probably fair.
Yeah, that came out today. Yep.
Considering that they have played one high major and Iowa State hasn't yet, so you got to give them the edge that way. But Iowa State's ready to go. I mean, I think this is a hungry Iowa State team ready to prove people wrong. I mean, you're starting to see Iowa State. I don't want to say they're losing respect for the national media. They just haven't played anybody yet, so nobody knows yet. Nobody knows yet.
Yeah, Auburn is. They're 2 in Ken Palm. The team that they beat is number 1. Funny how that works.
Weird. That's odd.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
How that plays out.
Houston has been just destroying people by like 60 though, so that they're inflating their numbers that way.
The rest of this tournament is loaded too. I was going through it again on the plane. I was doing all my prep for this week, and this is really an incredible field. The terrible seeding though, the way it works out. Iowa State and Auburn playing each other in the first round. That's really unfortunate.
I don't quite. I mean, Connecticut's really good again. North Carolina's got guys. Dayton's good.
I watched Michigan State hang with Kansas there for most of that game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm looking at the bracket, Iowa State's got the 4th best odds. I think it's probably right.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado's got a ways to go, in my opinion, and then Carolina, they've got high end potential. You obviously what you're getting from Connecticut. I'm as crazy as it is, C-Dub, I'm putting Michigan State in like the bottom 3 in this tournament. That's Michigan State.
I forgot about our friend Tyrese Hunter being out there too.
Yeah, with Memphis. Yeah, yep. So
I forgot he was out there.
Penny Hardaway and TJ were on the podium together today. It's just kind of funny.
Really,
it's two opposite personalities in a lot of ways.
Oh God, you couldn't draw more opposite than those dudes.
But this again, I've only been here for like 3 hours. You can see why this gets the reputation it does. I mean, they roll out the red carpet for these guys.
Yeah, I'm guessing that the Iowa State will be as represented as anybody out there too, right? Based
on my quick walk around the hotel, it was a who's who of some of our Iowa State friends.
But that's why I saw old Denny from Clear Lake out rumbling around. Yeah, he's been tweeting pictures and just.
So because he's an avid listener, so I'm eating dinner. And Steve Bergstrom goes by. I was like, "Hey, when the hell are you doing the podcast?" So it's like, "Well, Steve, we're gonna get there." So he's like, "We had
a lot of people because apparently I haven't seen it, but apparently you put out a tweet that you were going to Maui, and I had a bunch of panicked people tweet, "What the hell's gonna happen to the show? Get your show done, all right? Everybody just calm down. Everybody relax."
So it'll be fun. It'll be a fun 3 days. I think give me 2-1, I would take it, and then you hope for the best. It'd be pretty cool to play Connecticut in a championship game. That'd be okay.
Yeah, I just like it. It feels good. Like we talked about with like football. Like, okay, so Saturday, this is it. This is what we all wanted. This is what we've all talked about. I kind of feel like basketball's there, like too. Like we're every year now, you're in these sexy tournaments. Like you're one of the it programs.
Yep.
It's because you have success and you have fans. Like that's the key. Like there's a lot of programs that have had success, but they have shitty fans, and vice versa. Like Iowa State used to have great fans, but you didn't win, so they didn't get invited to the cool parties. Now you get invited to the cool party every year. Next year they're at that Vegas tournament, the NIL one.
Yep.
I know like Destin, they're going back there at some point.
Yep.
I think
and they're working
Atlantis is happening again, I believe.
It's coming in. And then Iowa State's working on I don't know exactly when the details will come out, but another neutral site type game for next year that will have some potential NIL benefits as well.
Oh, cool.
So again, this is the new world we're in. So these made for TV games used to be made for TV. Well, now it's made for TV and to help out your program. So we've already seen a shift in the scheduling as soon as next year for this stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah. I saw the Fordham team getting off of their plane. They were in Vegas for some reason. I'm like, that team looks a little bit different than Deshaun Jackson walking around, but nonetheless, best of luck to.
I'm excited to see Deshaun. Like you could tell like this is why you picked to be Iowa State. For honestly the recruiting for these guys is, hey, we're going to Maui, so they're going to be amped up and ready to go.
Well, I mean, it's one of those deals. I mean, it was that in Alaska when we were kids, right?
Yep.
Those
sure.
are the two tournaments
Those are it. Yeah.
like you were locked into. All right. Let's do a little bit more football. And then again, guys, really spotty on what Wednesday's show is going to be. It's probably going to depend on how Iowa State is doing and Blum's schedule out there. Regardless, we will have a Wednesday show for you. If I have to get Rob Gray or somebody like that, or Woody or somebody to just jump in with me, Blum will. We'll have a lot of coverage for you guys this week when it comes to the basketball stuff. What do you think about the matchup, I guess, with Kansas State right now? They looked pretty good against Cincinnati. I think Iowa State is a more consistent team. I think Iowa State has the most balanced roster in the Big 12. We'll do our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment right now. Plant your independence, plant Wiffles.
Plant Wiffles.
I think it's the most balanced roster. I trust Iowa State's roster, I think, more than I do any of these other ones. Arizona State, although I will say they have proven themselves to be quite trustworthy at this point. But I do know one thing about this Kansas State team. They are going to be wanting to spoil this for
sure,
those guys in Ames. Like they do not need any motivation after what happened last year in Manhattan. Exactly. They want to ruin this for Iowa State. I am expecting them to have their hair on fire.
Well, there's that. Like the intangibles for both teams will be off the charts. It's kind of surreal. This is senior day for some great Cyclones, so that's going to be – it's hard. Like you talked to Newell about this. Senior day can be hard for the senior because you're dealing with a lot of extra stuff. It's your last games. You got the emotions. Your family's there. You got all this stuff. By the way, you're playing for a Big 12 to appear in a Big 12 championship game. So there's that. And then, just personnel-wise, a quarterback like Avery Johnson is just going to give Iowa State problems. Mm-hmm. Running quarterbacks are going to give Iowa State issues. So specifically with the conditions, it's going to be cold. It may be tricky to throw the ball. You're going to get a lot of Johnson. And, it's going to be up to that defensive line. You need Dom Orange to be really good to get. If he can be that disruptor and Iowa State can win the line of scrimmage on that end, I think Iowa State's receivers will, again, be – they're the best in the conference for a reason, that they'll have some success. But I anticipate this game's going to go right down the wire, and we're all going to be stressed out like we have been all year.
Yeah, I certainly think it sets up that way. The point with Kansas State too, they bounced back really well in that Cincinnati win, right?
Yeah,
like because
really
I was kind of questioning them over the week. I'm like, what's going on?
What's going on? Yep.
Kleiman's like crying and like,
yep.
Is their team falling? I don't know. Like we when you're not in the program, you don't know. And they responded like you would expect that program to do. So I'm fired up. This is better.
They ran for 300 yards against Cincinnati. Like
it's terrifying.
That's correct.
It's terrifying. It really is a horrifying matchup when you look at it that way.
It's the worst possible matchup for Iowa State's defense. Now, that defense has played really well last 2 weeks, and it's gotten older and gotten some guys back. So hopefully that's more of what it is rather than the Kansas and Texas Tech defense. However, these guys run it better than Kansas does. Or similar to Kansas. And you saw what Kansas did to Iowa State. That's the fear here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they have good offensive coaches, and they're pretty good up front.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, I've had a love-hate relationship with Jerome Tang. I respect K-State's football program, and you're gonna get their A game. They're gonna try and pound it at Iowa State, and this will be a grown-ass win if Iowa State can figure it out. Like this, there's a lot on this game, and so you're gonna have to be mentally tough because it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah. Real quick, the scenario in which Iowa State could win and not go to that would be like Houston beating BYU, like just really weird stuff, right?
Yes, and again, I go to the MRED.
Yeah, we don't need to break them all down. I know people are going to ask us.
Yeah, so simply, if Iowa State wins, it's like I would say 95% chance you're in. Now there is like a world where because it's your record against teams that you beat and lost to, and so there is something there. But if you win, you're going to feel good about it in the good news, C-Dub. I'm pretty sure you're going to know when that game kicks off, or at least have a pretty good idea of what that looks like.
That set up great. What was it like in the? I don't know. Did you tailgate? Can you tailgate at Utah?
Great. Yeah. So they actually have.
Could you stand with a beer at your tailgate?
Yeah. Yes, you could.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's just
I'm so confused by that. I didn't know that was like a thing.
So this is funny. We went to a liquor store because they're not as commonplace in Utah for a variety of reasons. And the only thing they had for beer was like IPAs, and they had something called a Natty Daddy. Have you ever had a Natty Daddy? It's a natural,
delicious.
It's a natural light, but at 8%.
Oh.
So they didn't have Coors Light or Miller Light or Mick Ultras.
Whoa.
All they had was these Natty Daddies.
So y'all are drinking that?
So we some of our group had some Natty Daddies. Yeah. No, it was great. We had they actually have these services now, and I think Iowa State could look into this potentially, although the RV Village does this 5 times better. But you rent these tents, and then they bring in catering, and they bring in a TV, and they bring in space heaters. So it's like a home away from home. And it was actually fairly reasonably priced. So we had, again, 250 Cyclones that ended up finding their way over to our tailgate, which is really neat.
All right, let's do it. Let's guess the point spreads, shall we? Are you at a point?
I can't wait. No, so I was wrong. Houston BYU is after the Iowa State game, so we might potentially have to. Could be a Saturday night RV Village special, late in the evening. That's a 9:15 start Iowa time.
Just staring us down the barrel.
It's very possible. So
I know
again,
it is.
Win the game.
Well, let's find out the point spread of that game. I haven't looked at it either.
I haven't either.
But it will be less than the majority of the audience thinks.
Correct.
Now I have that in my head. If Iowa State takes care of business and then frickin' Willie Fritz stabs us in the back.
You might still have to wait on that game. Yeah.
All right, it's 3 right now. Actually, the money is on Kansas State. The pros have come in on Kansas State and knocked it down to 2.5.
Okay, so Iowa State's still the slight favorite?
Iowa State's still the favorite, but the sharp money's on Kansas State right now.
What's the over-under? 48?
That is 52.
52, okay. Well, keep an eye on the weather. Just put it that way.
Do you care at all about the Nebraska-Iowa game? You want to guess the point spread?
Who do I want to win that game is a great question. Is that Friday again?
That is Friday, yes. Friday night.
Is this still the Heroes game?
It is the Heroes game, yes.
There's no Heroes here, though. It is, let's see, that is Iowa by 6.
5.5, you win. Okay. Try webwise.com, Webwise Solutions. Guess the point spreads here on Williams and Blum. All right, this is a weird weekend because you got games on like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Oklahoma State at Colorado.
Oh, boy. 14.
16.5.
Ooh, that's not inside the 2.
We had to go with the definition of 2 for a conference game. I actually think it should be less with all the tools we have, but I'm being generous.
Okay, so that's a miss.
That is a miss. Bloom's all over the freaking world. I'm going to cut him a little bit of slack tonight. Just because it impacts Iowa State slightly. Oregon State at Boise State.
Oh, this is fun. I'm really anxious to see where Boise State is on Tuesday. Anyway, they are a 12-point favorite.
20.
Oh my, that's bad. That's the worst miss of the year right there.
The super irrelevant Egg Bowl. You don't need to guess that one. 26. Yikes. Utah at Central Florida. That is a Friday night game.
Oh, man. This game was supposed to be big when they scheduled it.
We thought Utah was going to be 11-0 going into this game to get knocked off by Central Florida. Remember that? We had dreams of that.
Absolutely. They've lost 7 in a row. Insane. By the way, there's a lot of money in Utah.
Really?
A lot of money.
Are they jerks?
No, they were nice. Actually,
they're nicer than their Twitter people?
Yes, 100%. I actually had the leader of their collective came over. Never met this woman in my life. She came over and she's like, "Hey, come on over to my tailgate." And they made pulled pork and corn to honor the Iowa State Cyclones. So it was nice people.
Very nice.
People.
Very nice gesture.
The amount of wealth in Utah is insane. It makes a lot of sense now from BYU and Utah that they're high up on the NIL game. Just observing like I do. I would say here UCF is a 10-point favorite.
8.5. That's a winner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have West Virginia at Texas Tech.
West Virginia. Does this game matter? Like in a scenario, maybe?
I think there's like some crazy ass scenario.
Chance. Yeah. Texas Tech's in Morgantown?
Nope. This is in Lubbock.
Oh, it's in Lubbock. Okay. Tech 4.
3.5. That's a win. Well done. Big game in the Williams house. South Carolina at Clemson.
Is South Carolina borderline? If they win this game, will they get some love to make the playoff?
Well, they have 3 losses.
I know.
But there's going to be people pounding the Bama should be in train. South Carolina, it's maddening to me. Like, they should only have 1 loss.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I bet, okay, prediction here at early in the morning on a Monday morning, you're going to see some South Carolina love this week of saying, hey, what about these guys? If they beat Clemson, look out. I'm just calling. Where's this game at?
Clemson.
Clemson is a 4-point favorite.
2.5. That's a win.
That's a win.
Doing the bull dance. Feeling the flow. Working it. Kansas, the hottest team in the country. At Baylor.
2 of the hottest teams in the country.
You're not kidding.
Roll it out. Let's go. Pick 'em.
1.5. That's a win.
Who's favored?
Baylor.
Okay.
Probably play Kansas, I think. They're just beating everybody.
They were dominant against Colorado.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Just Leipold, man, like most programs quit at that point.
After that loss to K-State, I thought they might mail it in, and they did not.
Props to that guy. And Dave Aranda, really.
Yes, both of them.
Just for fun, Michigan at Ohio State.
Oh, jeez. 25.
20.5.
Oh.
So that's a...
okay, that's a miss. That's a miss.
Okie dokie. Auburn, Alabama, you want to take a stab at that?
Bama 10.
11.5, that's a win. Well done. Arizona State at Arizona.
Sneaky game here. Keep an eye on it.
This is a sneaky game. I agree with you.
Keep an eye on it.
I know which side I'd be on here.
I know exactly where I'm. Yes. I think Arizona State's probably, a 5-point favorite?
8.5.
Oh, we're playing that.
That's an easy bet right there.
In Tucson?
In Tucson, yeah. You hammer Arizona right there.
I have as a miss on my end, so tells you what I think.
Our friends Notre Dame at USC, a little bit of implications.
Notre Dame could probably lose this game and still get in, right?
Could they? Boy, if you would lose to this USC team in Northern Illinois, and with their wins, you do not deserve to be in the playoff, especially after A&M got cooked this week.
I completely agree, but will they?
Probably not, because I don't trust those people in that boardroom. But I'm like that. They would not deserve to be in the playoff in that scenario.
I am super fat. I'm back in on watching the Tuesday rankings. It's gonna make me mad, I know, but I don't know what you do with some of these teams. I don't know. It's really hard. I mean, isn't there a world? I know that's not a world where Iowa State, if Iowa State wins the conference, they're going to get in the playoff anyway. But 11-2, Iowa State should be in the conversation too, But you're not going to be, because the Big 12 for some reason has been relegated over here. That's another topic.
Perception problem.
It's a perception problem. I would say Notre Dame's an 8-point favorite.
Notre Dame is a 7-point favorite. That's a win. Well done.
We got Houston,
TCU.
BYU. Oh, TCU.
TCU at Cincinnati.
Oh my gosh, Cincinnati. Tough one. I'm going to say here, TCU's a 2-point favorite.
2.5. You win. Just for fun, Texas at Texas A&M. God, this is an easy bet. These two of these games, I just freaking want to hammer right now.
Texas is at A&M.
Yeah.
This is an 11-point spread, though, for Texas.
6.
Oh.
I would play A&M. Even at 6.
Well, I know, but A&M looks so bad this weekend.
Oh, man, that place is going to be on fire.
It is. It is. What has Texas done, by the way? That's another
They
one.
haven't done anything. They don't have a good win. Their best win is at Vanderbilt.
That's correct.
Houston at BYU.
Oh, no. Sorry. It's going to be a long night Saturday night, isn't it? It's going to be a long night. Oh, no. BYU was a 7-point favorite.
We were both off. It's 12.
Oh. Way off.
It still doesn't make me feel any better, though.
Nope. Oh, that's going to be... Guys, I'm already stressed out about Saturday night, and we're only on Monday morning.
Let me see real quick, too. I got to see what Houston... Okay, they're 4-7, so they're not, like, playing for bowl eligibility. That's a good thing.
But they are what they do, you know? They're going to run it. I don't think BYU's great against the run. I'm nervous about that game. Because Iowa State's going to win, and you still got to wait on that game.
It's going to be 29 and windy in Provo.
Oh, jeez. Okay, well, let's see what happens.
The total... The total in this game's 41.
Shouldn't...
You have to just pound Houston. Like this, there's so many tasty bets.
Yeah.
Like, get your bets in now, people.
I know they can't do this because of TV, but shouldn't all these Big 12 games be at the same time? And could there be some weird shenanigan game
I don't know,
but play here?
We had the most amazing time on Saturday, though, because it was our whole group. Yeah, and they were all, like, staggered out. And then we knew exactly what Iowa State needed to do.
Yeah.
Oh. And then when that kick was gone, it was just like, it was just a perfect moment.
Someday
while you're at an All-American Rejects concert.
With Ted Flint in Kansas.
With race cars all around you. Oh, my God.
Did you go to the race?
No, the whole thing is just a giant event.
It's just a party.
Actually did it even better. We had a cabana at Stadium Swim, and Stadium Swim had the entire thing was nothing but the race. So it was freaking amazing.
I watched George Russell, right?
Yeah. I had a ticket on him.
No, of course you did.
I went.
Did you have a good weekend on that front?
I went 18-4 on Saturday.
No wonder you got a little extra pep in your step.
I went 18-4, and I hit a 5-team money line parlay on top of it. And one of my 4 misses was a teaser, so I didn't even feel that bad about it. And because I picked Maryland because I had to bet against the Hawks.
Man, good work out of you, pal.
Yeah. No, I had a hell of a week. Doesn't happen very often anymore. I'm way worse than I used to be at all this, probably because I have kids and stuff, and I don't sit around studying this crap like I used to. All right, well, I do want to thank a couple more of our great sponsors here before we sign out, because we are in a little bit of a quicker show tonight because of everybody's situations. I want to thank our friends, of course, at Mechdyne, Kelderman Manufacturing, Wiffles Hybrids, Ivy College of Business at Iowa State. I also want to give some condolences to our friends over at Mississippi River Distilling. Sean, our one of the longtime employees at that company, passed away this week. Sean's a great guy. I've done a lot with him here in the Des Moines area over the last few years, and he's been battling cancer, and they posted about it earlier this week, and I just want to give my condolences to all of them. Sean's been great, done a lot of cool stuff with us when we would go over there and do our parties, and he's always been a real guy like here in the Des Moines area who could, help us activate things and really. And with working with our friends over at Westo and stuff like what Ian does, those are the guys who activate the stuff.
Grinding.
Every Sean
day.
did a great job for them for so many years, and really just kind of heartbroken tonight doing the show.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder why enjoy things this year when it happens. You just
Yeah.
you just don't know. You just don't know. And so that's where I keep coming back to the attendance thing is like, I don't know what's going to happen to Iowa State athletics in the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to be a weird world.
Mm-hmm.
When's the next time Iowa State's going to be 9-2 with a chance to get to a championship game? I hope it happens a lot. I hope it happens. It hasn't, so
Give
but
Matt
the
Campbell
people-
the lifetime contract and like guarantee me decent NIL money, and I think it'll happen a lot in this league.
Well, I think in this league, in the current structure, I totally agree. And that's why I'm very bullish on hopefully the next couple weeks, honestly, if we can keep our guys. Because I feel good about some of the other targets. Anyway, but yeah, I think enjoying it with the people like Sean, like just like I met probably 50 new friends on Saturday, all because they're here for Iowa State. Like that, you can't recreate that anywhere else, that community. And that's what makes it so cool. And you don't get to celebrate often. And so you might as well, when you get the chance, you might as well be there.
Yeah, and it's one of those deals too. It's like Iowa State fans have been so good so long for a crappy product.
Yes.
And that maybe that's not fair. Crappy is not the way to put it. It's just you've always aspired to get to a certain. My point is like you're there.
You're there.
And I hope that everybody's just soaking it all. You're literally a top 5 basketball team right now playing in the Maui Invitational, and your football team is playing for a potential win 2 games, and you're in the college football playoff.
It's scary in a lot of regards, but it's scary because it means something, and that's we all built to this point. If you're listening to this, you are responsible for where Iowa State's gone, and so enjoy it. Don't stress out too much. I know it's going to be easy to stress out, but hey, we're all in it together at this point.
Well, you need to do your Bruce Pearl prep.
I do. I did not hear how the flight for Auburn went over here, but I will ask tomorrow.
It's a lot of opportunity to kick your teammates' ass.
It was a 7-hour flight.
My God. Is that what it was? Did you fly from Salt Lake to Maui?
No, it was a long morning. Salt Lake, Phoenix, Maui.
Got it.
And then when you land at the Maui airport, it's another hour over to Lahaina.
Because you got to do like a little prop plane or something?
No, it's just on the other side of the island.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I'm sure that was a horrible drive for you guys to have to suffer through.
Well, it was for me. It was for me, C-Dub, because we needed to go to the Target, and the Target in Maui was just jam-packed. Thank goodness for our Uber driver, Robert. Robert waited outside for us for 20 minutes while we went shopping.
That was nice. Did they have Cyclone gear at that Target in Maui?
No. We got nothing.
He is Brent Blum. My name is Chris Williams. Thanks so much.
Let's have a week, everybody.
Guys, yeah, we'll have pregame tonight with me and Leah. Probably at 7, I would think. We'll probably go live. And then postgame right after it, just like we do with football. Same thing on Thanksgiving Day with the women. Let's go. It's time. Let's have ourselves a hell of a week. He's Brent Blum. I'm Chris Williams. We'll be back on Wednesday.